Hey guys, here we are, the Quiggin Out MMA Podcast, episode 15. I know we're up to 15 already, and as you can see if you're watching, I've got one of the legends of the sport, and not the, fighters inside the cage, one of the ones outside the cage, the one and only Duane Finley. How you doing, sir?
Dude, the fact that, this is how special you are to me, Quiggs, the fact that, you get me out of the rock I'm hiding under to come on a podcast, bro, and talk some shit, yeah, man, anything for you. And it's funny, because we tried this a month ago, but my crazy son's got this crazy schedule, and when we were doing it, I had long hair, and I was like, man, you can't see my face because I'm in driving, so put up a Daryl Dixon picture, and now I have this second. The only other possible COVID haircut is the buzz. So yeah, man, you got me here. Let's do this shit.
Well, absolutely, and anybody who reaches out and asks, I will share that, because that was probably a 10-minute bit of gold that we stumbled across.
Yeah, man, you and I have always got on really well, and I'm proud of you, man. I like what you're doing. I've liked what you've done for a long time. So the fact that I've kind of got to watch you grow has been super fucking cool for me because, as you know, I've been out of space for a minute. So I only kind of selectively pay attention to certain things anyway. So I'm watching what you're doing, and I like your style, man. So anything I can do to help.
You're gonna make me cry on my own show.
That's what I do, bro. I either come way up top or I come way low. I'm either making people's day or I'm disappointed. There's no middle ground.
And I mean, it's so funny because we talked about this. I've talked about this with people, and I was like, in the short time that I've been doing the show, 3 months, I've gotten to interview my photography idol in, Esther Lynn. And I'm getting to interview my writing idol, someone that I'm lucky enough to call a friend, and I truly believe that, because anybody who's watching, I'm going to give an, unasked for plug for this book.
That, like I said, man, there's toilet paper shortage somewhere, that'll help get that.
And just so you know, Duane did not ask me to. He probably asked me not to show the book. But
true story.
When I picked up that book, I read 14 chapters without stopping, and I don't remember the last time I picked up something and just said, I cannot stop reading this.
Well, I'll tell you what, thank you for the kind words on that, and I'm going to go back to the conversation we had in Florida, and we were talking about, we're talking about storytelling, okay, and the essence of what matters. In this world that we live in right now, everything's going to video and Twitter-sized chunks of information, right? Mm-hmm. The art of the story. I mean, those guys that a lot of my friends were on the athletic, thing that took the dive. But I was lucky to come up with Thomas Trebasi is my absolute mentor. He helped me get into this. Chuck Mendenhall. So right there's two of the greats of all time that I got to come up under. So the fact that when you and I had that conversation, and I think, and I'd read one of your other stories, it was when you were first starting out, but I was like, you get the art of the narrative, right? That when I came into the game, Quiggs, it was all the interviews you ever saw that were posted online, whether fighting or wherever, were Q&A style. They show they'd write an intro and some lazy ass Q&A. So I didn't come from a journalism background. I came from a creative writing background. So I started writing narratives and then plugging the quotes in. So early on, when I was at Bloody Elbow or bjpen.com, people started noticing that the style was different. Now, at the beginning, yes, I got criticism from some editors because of a lot of carry on, a lot of extra words. But you grow as a writer. You know what I mean? You find out what works in the space. So then, once I worked for Tom Trebasi at UFC.com, then I worked for a great editor. And then a great editor, man, and we'll get into that with the book, but a great editor will take the time to figure out your style and then figure out a way to help you grow. A shitty editor or just a fucking a dick can ruin a writer. It really can, because I am one of the writers, and I'm sure we get into this as we go, but process-wise, man, and Hunter will tell you, because Glow worked with me, that and I have some exciting news on that too, but Glow and I worked together for, he was just a young kid at Bleacher Report, and then we went to Flow Sports together at FloCombat. We did those great things, but he as the senior editor, I needed somebody to check my work, right? Like, because I was also doing stories. And Hunter was one of those people that, man, like, he gets what you're doing and he embraces it. And then he'll say, like, I need more on, like, he knows that my process is the first time it comes out. I wrote that book, and the book you just held up. I wrote that no shit in less than a month. I just sat down and tore it up because for me, the first time it comes out my head is the best time. Like, I'm an automatic writer, right? Like, I just tap into the ether, I let that shit go, and when it comes out, that's pretty much the finished product. If you make me go back and start chopping over it and breaking it down, it's only going to get worse. And that's something that messed me up early in my writing career because I'd write short stories, and I'd be like, okay, man, I got to go back. When I hear people talk about, oh, there was the 7th or 8th draft, oh, my God, like, it makes me want to puke. Yeah. Because I couldn't imagine it. I would be angry and just not finish because I don't want to look at it's like I don't want to look at it again. Once it's out, it's out. Like, I don't go back and read my stories. Like the book, I've actually gone back in the time period and read a few chapters and been like, man, I did all right with that shit. But otherwise I can't it's just not my way. It's not my style. It works for some people, but it's not me.
No, and I know, like, growing up into, the journalism aspect of it, because I didn't have a journalism background either. I literally started watching fights in, like, late 2008, early 2009. I picked up I had friends who introduced me to Pride early on. I mean, we would watch 6 hours at a time. And he was on one of my previous shows. And literally, he would show me all the fights, and I got obsessed. And I think obsessed is an understatement, because I needed to know everything about the sport as far back as I could go and cram as much knowledge as possible. And I remember I picked up a copy of Ultimate MMA magazine. And
hey, I wrote for that magazine for a little while.
So did I, which is pretty epic. So we'll get to that. So I picked it up and they said here it showed a picture of Machida versus Rashad Evans. And it said, at UFC 100, these two clash, blah, blah, blah. And I wrote Doug at the time, and I said, hey, man, I really don't mean to be a dick. I was like, but...
Yeah, it was 98, wasn't it?
It was 98.
Yeah, shit, man. I'm not that old.
So I said, we emailed back and forth for like 2 hours. And emailing back and forth for 2 hours is a very long time. This is 2010, and I remember he said, do you want to write a blog for us? And I was like... okay. So I did that for a while, and it was funny because the first piece I ever wrote was, again, back in 2010, I said Frank Mir should move down to light heavyweight because at the time there was nobody with a submission game. So I was like, oh, this is a good piece. Fast forward 5 years later, I actually got to have a conversation with Frank about the same piece. And he was like, yeah, we really tried to think about that. And I remember thinking in my head, holy shit, he's talking to me about my work.
Crazy, right?
So, and I remember coming up, it was like, you can't be friends with the fighters. I was trying to learn those little things. And then I discovered you. And I started to read some of those pieces, and I realized that there was so much more, and the norm in MMA journalism doesn't exist. Absolutely does not exist.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, and to mention, like, Hunter... saw it for the first time. He wrote a great piece on the Millers, on Jim and Dan Miller for Fight Magazine. But he wrote that based out of one of the road trip projects. We went camping with the Millers, and that was the first time Hunter got to. And he actually cited it in the article about writing about. I got to see Duane's process, right? That there's magic in that process. That the sport already has Helwani. You know what I mean? Like, Helwani's the best face-up journalist you're gonna find. I mean, I know people shit on him about ties or whatever. Who cares? But if you talk about a straight-up talking head, Helwani's the best you're gonna get, right? But so that spot's already filled. But the thing is if you embed yourself with these guys and you go into them in their life, not when they're cutting weight, not when they're getting ready to fight, when you get a look into their daily lives, which nobody was doing, man, they were so receptive, and that's my thing. Because I'm not yes, I have friendships that have been forged and carry on to this day because I'm a nice, good person, but it never affected the way I wrote about it because all I was doing was taking away the tension and the weirdness of this being an actual interview. So now it's a conversation. Now we're just hanging out. Now we're just chatting. And man, like some of the toughest dudes in the game, like, John Jones, Masvidal, Max Holloway, guys that are tough interviews, Ben Askren, like, those are the guys that if I call them today, they'll pick up the phone. You know what I mean? Like, and Dustin Poirier, like, and those are the guys that in the time that I've been away have sent me, like, Frankie Edgar has sent me messages, man, like, yeah, you're doing good, we miss you, like, we miss having your voice in the space, the voice of the fighter. So that feels good, but there just hasn't really been a time and a place for that to come back until now. So, Hunter and I have been talking about doing something, and there'll be some news on that coming up soon. But there's been several, man, and like Eric Kyle, I love him to death, man. That, like, if there was a site I was going to come back and work for, it would be him, right? Because I like what he does over there, and it's and so but it's just, man, there's just not enough for me right now, and it's not a money thing at all because he pays well. It's an interest. It's an interest. Like, I walked away so abruptly with so much shit from that Flow Sports bullshit that I don't want to go back. You know what I mean? It's just a weird time, and I don't want to reopen that space. But if there's anybody that get me to do it, fucking Hunter Homistek, right? Like, that guy, fucking cracking the whip on me, getting Ole Bo, fucking, we need you, buddy. Like, so yeah, Hunter and I, we got something cooking. So early next month, you'll see something from us.
Well, I think it's funny because you said something cooking with him launching the new site and him doing all his taste tests. So
yeah,
the next time I talk to him, I'm gonna have a conversation because we actually went and got Popeyes for the first time and had one of their chicken sandwiches shortly after he did that video.
Can't fuck with it, man. If anybody can beat God's chicken, it's Popeyes, man. Like, hey, Sav, you've had them both. Are you a Chick-fil-A or Popeyes? Savvy's going Chick-fil-A, Quiggs, but Pops is going Popeyes. I like Popeyes spicy chicken sandwich.
Well, and I mean, they're two different sandwiches, and it depends on how you have them. If you don't have them exactly the same, I don't think it's a fair comparison, but, thanks, Sav, for the input. I always appreciate Mini Finley jumping in.
Oh, yeah. He's in between. He's, like I said, he's got a game in a little bit, so he's chilling. But yeah, me and Savvy, that's my ace. So hey, his input's strong, bro. Like, he's 12 years old, but, I mean, shit. Like I said, he's, like, I talk to him like I've talked to him my whole life. Like, he's like a 40-year-old grouchy fucker like me. So, like, he gets it.
I mean, and that's the greatest. So talk about, like, being home with the family, because I know anyone who's read the book knows how difficult that journey was for you, if not at all. If they really comprehended how difficult it was for you to be away from the family, how much different is it now, being home and being able to be, such a part of, Z and Johnny Savage's life, because that's what I'm going to call him.
I'll tell you what, I'll start by saying this. Before everything kind of went south, there was a point in my life where everything I ever wanted, came true. I had everything I wanted. You know what I mean? I was making six figures. I was, I had the respect at the top of my sport of what I was doing. But the one thing that I was selling to get that was the thing that mattered most, was the time with my family. And I know, you understand because of the schedule of the sport, but, dude, there were so many times where I'd get back on a Tuesday and have to fly out on a Thursday, and, like, my whole thing was, like, I had a rough childhood, and I didn't have the best home life, so my thing was that was the guarantee, right? I wanted to make sure my children had the best of what I had to offer. Now, I'm not talking about material stuff. I'm talking about the real stuff, attention, and time. So, yeah, man, the thing about the road trip was so crazy is that I had to do something. I was at a breaking point where I had to set myself apart in the sport. So I had to do something drastic. And what I did, it did exactly what I thought it would do. It gave me my own platform. It gave my own voice. It led to these great things and these great experiences. But, man, my life, as you read in the book, my life was falling apart in the middle of that, man. My marriage was struggling. My kids were like, man, Dad, why you keep leaving? And I was like, you can't understand. I was trying to tell them, you can't understand, you will one day when you're chasing something that you don't even understand, but you want to be great at something. So I got all that, and then there came a point where the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Like, I'd done everything I wanted to do. The book came out. The book was, did awesome, and it got a lot of praise. And I just ran out of like, for instance, I always tell Hunter that you have to have a cup,
hold
right?
on a second. Something's going weird here. Hold on.
Hey!
What did you always tell Hunter? What did you always
Do you know how hard it has been?
It's you fuckers. It's the creator of the Provider himself, Young Glow.
We made it.
Hey, man, you son of a bitch. I was just talking about that time that our dicks touched and what?
I'm out. I left.
Yeah?
I never came. This never happened.
But it's your dog. Anyway, I used to tell Hunter, what up, you fucker? Good to see you.
Listen,
dude.
Do you know how hard this has been to do? And thank you, Hunter, for not telling him. But we have literally been coordinating all three of our schedules for this.
I feel like I'm getting fired at Flow all over again. Hunter's not telling me shit. But you like that? No, dude, it's funny. When Glow popped on, my screen didn't know how to handle that whiteness, dude. It like had to refocus.
This wall is not even white. I don't even know. The white balance is all whacked out. I don't know what's going on. It's my skin throwing everything off
I'm
again.
telling you, I love you, you fucking pale motherfucker.
Well, it's funny because I gave you a clue. I gave you a clue because I was repping, Church Brew Works here.
There it is, the Pittsburgh Brewery.
I didn't pick up on it. I will tell you this: if you go back and you watch, like, you made me sincerely, genuinely happy. Like, I was happy to do this, and then I see this fucking dude pop up there. Holy shit! And I probably, and Quick will tell you, dude, in the 10, 18 minutes I've been on, I probably name dropped you like fucking 15 times.
So that's why he popped on like probably about 2 minutes ago, and I was waiting for you to talk, and you're like, it's like I tell Hunter, and I was like, hold on a second.
I'm like Beetlejuice, dude. You say my name enough, and I pop into the podcast. That's a movie I've seen. Duane, it's a movie I've seen.
Hey, don't you fucking start, because I'll say it. That's just like that movie. He'll go, what movie? You son of a bitch. You're not going to stand by me again, you fucking piece of shit.
All right, Jerry O'Connell, take it away. Take it away.
What I was saying is, what Glow and I used to talk about all the time is the cup, right? You got to have, your cup's got to be full. Like, you fill them with experience, and then you drain that cup, right? But then you got to refill it again. And then if you're drinkers like we're drinkers, that cup's coming fast and furious. So, like, but like I previously mentioned, with my style, Glow had never seen it until we went out with the Millers. And then he was writing that story for Fight. And then he got to see how embedding yourself and doing things, because Glow came from a journalism school, so he's already got the papers. He's seen how, like, they taught you it should be done. So then he's out with me, and then it's funny because this kid, I hate to talk so nice about him, but he's so goddamn talented that he takes the good from something. Like, he could glean enough of the good off of my style and then make into his own personal style, and it made him such a fascinating journalist himself, man. Like, he don't like to talk about the Prodigy shit, but not like Firestarter, but like, he's like you're not Zordon. You son of a bitch.
Well,
fucking I got glow bomb, bro.
You got glowed. You got glowed, son. It had to happen soon enough, right? I knew.
You got glowed, homie.
This would be the time to do it. And I love that your name on here is Ole Bo, ready to go. Like, the whole slogan's there.
Right, bro. And I teased the fact that you and I got something coming in August. So it's better than Ole Bo who can't go.
Very true.
I'm 41, bro.
Dude, it's time. I mean? It's now or never. You're in the Hendo prime though right now. Like, you might just be hitting your peak.
Fuck yeah, close my eyes, slinging dick. You know how it works. I want to be 41-year-old Vitor, bro.
Yeah, right.
Chemical me up, dog.
Absolutely. Hope a bow bomb lands. Hell yeah. Throw some bow bombs around. I love it.
Yeah.
Dropping bow bombs. Is that what we're going to do? Dropping bow bombs?
I think that's what we're doing.
Well, Glow will tell you, when you go to Portland, you got to play fucking ball, bro. You know what I mean? And sometimes sometimes you got to make a stop, and you got to jump into whatever they're doing there, and sometimes you want a Snickers at like 2 in the morning.
I think I was on the same plane that Bisping was after the H-bomb, though, there by the end of that night.
Oh, God.
We existed in the same universe. It was somewhere else here.
The Blue Magoo, dog.
Blue Magoo's
Gotcha.
no joke. Just saying, it's definitely no joke at all.
No, and if you haven't seen Bisping go off on Hendo in the last week, that was hysterical. I'm not gonna
Great.
Yeah, he took that shit personally, huh?
He did. He absolutely did, and I love it. I love watching pro athletes get upset by words, like pro combat athletes upset by words. It's hilarious.
Well, when you got knocked out as bad as he got knocked out, there's gonna be some fucking PTSD and some hurt feelings.
For sure, but the thing is, there's no way Bisping actually remembers that night, so... So it's all hurt feelings for just things that he's seen in retrospect.
God.
Plus he got his revenge, so come on, man.
I mean, his revenge would have been knocking Henderson out with a right hand. That's it.
Nah, not with that Hendo Cinderblock head. It wasn't a Luke Rockhold chin on the other end of that fist.
Oh, fucking gloves on fucking banging on all cylinders right now.
I'm gonna go get a fire extinguisher. Shit.
You're gonna need it. Fucking the Ginger Ninja's on fucking on fleek.
That's a real fighter now, isn't it? I've been somewhat tuned out, but isn't there a fighter in the UFC now that is the Ginger Ninja?
I'm pretty
sure. I was like, man, dude stole my whole brand there.
I mean, if that's your brand, that's pretty sad, because right now you can't even see your ginger.
I know. Yeah, I got a weak beard.
So it's funny, we've got a progression here of, Hunter's, then mine, then Duane's, Tyler Durden up there.
For sure.
Hey, look, it looks like Hunter's standing right behind me with that glove.
Just providing constant light to the world. That's my goal in life, man. Just be the light for somebody.
I don't think we could go on from there. How do you top? I want to be the light for someone out there.
You don't. You just bag it up. But no, I want to talk about something Duane said because, dude, it's so true in the journalism realm. Being able to pick and choose what you're taking from somebody else's style, and the way he broke down so many walls for me as a journalist, and I thank him for that all the time. But we'll say it here again, man. You really showed me that there was more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. The traditional journalism way, man. It's funny because to me, if I was making a Mount Rushmore of MMA journalists, you're on it for sure.
Absolutely.
Gervaisi, you, Mendenhall, and then I'll have to think about the fourth one after that. But the way you do it, and you have no formal training at all. So that's a big thing that I've been saying lately. Is journalism is not. It's not this traditional thing that maybe a lot of people think it is or should be anymore. There's so many ways to produce a great product now. And Duane, you absolutely showed me, there's a way to do it and just literally be yourself. I've never seen somebody approach journalism that way.
No.
You literally just went out and we're Duane Finley hanging out with Jim Miller, or hanging out with whoever it might have been. Jorge Masvidal down in Florida. Dude, Horiguchi down in Florida. You conducted an interview with a dude who understood 5 words you were saying, and it was awesome. It was one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
Hey, we can't forget the Gilbert Burns incident.
King Mo, you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, dude, that was perfect. The King Mo, yes. But that's what I mean. You showed me that there was a way to do it where, okay, and the idea of writing, not so much journalism, but writing in general, you always hear people say it's all about authenticity and being true, Ernest Hemingway's quote, whatever, just write the truest sentence you can. The most true thing you can write that. Duane, balled that up in a bow way and made that made his version of journalism that way. I guarantee you, everything Duane ever wrote, he believed in that 1,000% that was his truth. And that, to me, is the beauty of the art. The way you conveyed it, man. You showed me that. I was like, okay, we can do this. If you just take your experience, convey it as accurately as you can, then there's no losing here.
And that's what I told him. I said, it's the same thing.
Absolutely, man. Just a second.
See, now we're losing. we made him tear up. He's trying to cry off screen.
Yeah.
I know. You get me crying on screen, you cocksuckers. But no, I operate and Glow. His way just said, kind of second it, that I don't deal with fake very well at all. Like, I don't see the reason to posture a bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of what you see is what you get with me. So the way I handle it is, like, if you're the same person every time I see you, then I know that that's authentic, right? Like, and that's a problem in this MMA space, especially in journalism, right? Like, there's a lot of shady motherfuckers, and there's a lot of fucking backbiting, and there's a lot of... I never did any of that. But what I did was I wanted to do things that truly interested me. You know what I mean? So if I'm fascinated by it, holy shit, you're gonna get the very best that I have to offer. If I'm going through the fucking motions, then it's gonna get wacky. You know, it's gonna get real stale. So I never want it to be stale. You know, so yeah, and I think for fucking 5 years, man, we found plenty of interesting shit to do. That's
no doubt. Even when it wasn't interesting to anybody but us, we just bought into it so fully and just made it happen. You know, you got to just believe in your own shit sometimes. So I think we did an amazing job at that, especially at Flo. I mean, we found our groove for sure at Flo.
Dude, we turned a bullshit trip to Cleveland into a fucking epic time.
One of the best.
We cornered Crazy Horse.
Yeah, we literally cornered Crazy Horse.
We ended up cornering fucking Charles Felony Bennett. Because his corner quit.
What?
Yeah. We were right there with him, just talking him through, basically trying to tell him to stand up. He needed the Derek Lewis approach. He needed the Derek Lewis approach that night to just stand up. He was tooling the dude up on the feet, but he just could not avoid the takedown at all and couldn't get up. So it failed him, but there's a great picture somewhere. I know we took it. I don't know where it's at now of Felony, Crazy Horse, whatever he wants us to call him nowadays, just looking at us out the side of his eye with like a smirk, like, yeah, I know I should get up, but I can't.
Yeah, he sat down in the corner, and he looked over at us. I'm like, fucking let him go, Charles, man, let the hands go. And he's like, oh, and then me and fucking Glow just moved over to the corner. Like, we're in the corner now, Mike Perry. He's shit, Mike Perry. We did it first.
Oh, we got this.
I don't want to say eat shit, Mike Perry, because Mike Perry will end up showing up at my house.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the kind of guy Mike Perry is.
So, and it's funny, because I talked about this. Where did your headphones go? Like, why are you doing, like, the 80-year-old man, like, stare at the...
Because you're going to get mad, but my phone battery dropped to 2%, so I'm trying to stay on board, bro.
I asked you if you had a charger. Did we not have this conversation?
When we started, I was at 40%, but your power, your magnetic pole of such great quiggisms just drained my fucking phone, bro. And then you put Glow on, and my phone had to focus so hard to wipe out, it dropped in another 20%.
That's absolutely what happened.
Me, I'll quit moving the camera. But my phone is just hanging on by a thread. You got quick awesomeness on the fucking vocal pad, and you got Glow just fucking up the white balance game, bro.
Your camera's out of control right now. It doesn't know how to handle this.
It's like,
Glow balance.
And then it's kind of put up with this fucking mug as is, so, like, what are you going to do?
That's true. I get it. Listen, that's major drainage right there you're asking of that battery.
As long as you can hear me, we're good. We're all right.
We're set.
I don't think major
set,
drainage has ever been a word that I've heard in a sentence, but thank you for that and that mental image that's going to be stuck there forever.
Doing what we can over here.
I don't want to give away our $1 million ideas. You're talking to the two guys who founded the soon-to-be-released beef jerky company called Circle Jerky.
Yeah, the ultimate road trip snack.
It's been statistically proven people like to eat brown things, donuts and such. So beef jerky, get your head out of the gutter quick. But anyway, Circle Jerky, and it turns out it was huge with like the Boy Scouts of America. We don't know why.
It all started there.
Oh my God!
At the ancient tradition. I'm just saying the Circle Jerky's going to take over.
It's big, but
nor do I. I don't really understand the appeal, but sometimes you just want a little Circle Jerky. I know. Circle Jerky's taking over, the ultimate road trip snack. It's always there for you, always reassuring all of your decisions. Just
share it with a friend.
Share.
I don't think I've laughed this much on a show, and I'm sorry for anybody listening to the Circle Jerk portion of this show.
Circle Jerky, Quigs.
Hey, don't be so shy. They're your new sponsor. Everybody, Quiggin Out Podcast brought to you by Circle Jerky, Pittsburgh's finest pounded meats.
Move aside, Jack Links. We got Circle Jerky.
I don't even know what to say after that. Oh, you guys.
Like, I used to have a podcast. It used to be cool. And then it got shut down.
The hilarity of us just going back and forth with Circle Jerky puns is ironically perfect. Like, that's how Circle Jerky works.
Hey, listen.
It's a circle.
Hey, that's exactly it. We don't want to give away how the sausage is literally made. But,
Yeah.
These are how, okay, so if you want to know what's going on in this car, when you're driving, like, that's what I always say, like, that's how you can tell a friendship, right? Like, how long you can drive without turning on the radio. Like, how something is so interesting. Like, Hunter and I, we would drive we put, like, 7 states behind us before we turn on the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just talking nonsense. And just some of the best memories ever. Like, I've literally been across the fucking country with this kid. And, man, like, we've slept in some of the nicest hotel rooms, some of the worst hotel rooms. And we won't get into the cheese Danish thing, you motherfucker, but I'm holding a grudge.
It's all right. Those Danishes can't speak for themselves after you annihilated them, so somebody has to speak for
that
them.
box didn't stand a fucking chance, dude. You were asleep the entire time.
I was.
And housed that whole shit.
A murder happened.
It looked like Kosovo, bro. There was just carnage everywhere. Bodies just strewn about. It's like Mogadishu. There was no way out of that motherfucker. Down, bro.
It's hard to believe. He bought a family pack of cheese Danishes at Walmart. I fell asleep in San Diego in our hotel. I woke up to piss, and literally every step I took was like crunch, crunch, crunch. Just Danish wrappers everywhere,
Bozilla,
littering the floor. Bozilla came through and put a hurting on the cheese Danishes. That's a fact. But to the point about the radio, I think the only times we did put the radio on were literally to like share a song with each other. It wasn't like we were actually trying to listen to music. It was like, oh, have you ever heard this? Or, you know, like trying to share our musical interests with one another or whatever. But it was never a distraction.
Speaking of which, why haven't you played one yet?
Dude, I'm telling you, fucking Glow.
Double ambush. There's a double ambush going on here.
Fucking Glow is the king of the hot take, so he will literally try to piss you off with something that's completely nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Just to gauge your reaction. But in that fucking buffoonery, I found like some truth. Like, man, maybe Nirvana isn't that great.
See? Every once in a while, I'll hit one that I'm serious about. That's how I keep you on your toes.
Sublime.
Dude, the Sublime take blew my mind because I thought I was a pretty big Sublime fan, especially in like high school and stuff, early college. I like Sublime. One day, Duane was like, "Sublime's all right, but they have 4 songs." He's like, "After those 4, none of them are good." And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like my whole Sublime fandom is those 4, and I still love those 4 songs. But he's right. Like I listened to the whole.
What are the 4 songs?
Like give the popular ones. What I Got, Santeria, what Wrong Way, whatever. Like what's the 4th one? I don't even know. What's the other popular one?
Like Date Rape or something.
Yeah, we'll throw that one in there. That one's decent. It's vicious, but it's good. Yeah, so like Sublime.
Though I mean, like
Doing Time.
You know,
It may have been Doing Time.
See right there. There's fucking there's 2 songs, bro. You know.
That's what I'm saying. We get stuck trying to even think of the 4th and 5th song. So it's like after those first couple, you're like, damn, those slap. But after that, no, not so much. Kind of trash.
Yep.
So if my girlfriend listens to this, I'm going to be single after this. So thanks, guys.
Sorry, just doing our part. We'll send you a bag of Circle Jerky to celebrate, please.
Hey, listen, it was my birthday yesterday. It's all right. Oh my God.
Oh man.
But hey, real quick, I do want to say that since we were talking about the book earlier, that Hunter was a huge part of that getting. Put the toilet paper down, quick.
Hey.
Hunter was a huge part in how that came together, because in our relationship, like we were talking about this the other day on text, like the reason our partnership or our writing, like just the way that our team works is that we work to entertain each other. Like that's how we did FloCombat. Like the shit that we did, like I'm writing for him, he's writing for me, like or doing the videos, like the sidebars, like we're trying to make each other laugh, or we're trying to kind of gauge each other. Like if I can make him laugh, or he'll say that's a fucking great article, then I know I knocked it out of the park. I don't need any other, and just the same for him, for me. So like when I got approached to do the book, I was like, man, I've already told these fucking stories. Like I've already told these interviews, and then Gervaisi was like, he's like, but you haven't told your story. You know, he's like, a lot of shit happened to you, a lot of the whole process, and I was like, oh, and then I took it to Glow, and I said, man, what do you think about if I took this approach? He's like, I fucking love it. He's like, nobody can do it justice. He's like, he's the one that encouraged me to go with like the Gonzo way, like Hunter S. Thompson, and man, like that last year writing for FloCombat and writing that book, man, I was really in my bag. I felt like I was really in the pocket, and everything I did fucking slammed, man. Like that's why, like my name was the byline on those articles, but like the Sioux Falls thing I did, like man, Glow needs just as much credit because he wrote some things or added some things, but he really kind of guided and shaped a lot of those stories. You know what I mean? And that's what was amazing. When you can work with somebody, it's like being in a band because you're working with a collaborative partner that's making you grow or helping you see something you didn't see. Like, holy shit, man, I can't wait for your take on this. Or like the Conor McGregor story in New York City, man. Like we sat, like before I wrote that was a conversation Hunter and I had. Yep. You know what I mean? Like I literally just sat down and just recapped mentally the conversation we had, and that's what made it so different. But I was never alone, and I think that's why in this time I've been out of the sport or away from journalism, I think that's why I've not come back, because I still want to do it alone. You know what I mean? Like I want that vibe. I want that not, you know, payoff's a tough word, but like I want that feeling of being in the mix with somebody, being in the fucking trenches with somebody, and really, you know, doing something unique. And on my own, it's just not there. But like Hunter and I, man, like I can't say, like I said, I can't say enough great things about this kid. And I'm so proud of the stuff he's doing and will continue to do. Because I promise you, like, his 20s were awesome, but when he hits his 30s run, man, you're going to see fucking something amazing from this kid, man. Like, he's just, I mean, you know, granted, like I said, I introduced you to drugs and prostitution.
The finer points in life.
Story, Quiggs. Like, I'm like, hey, Hunter, do you know how to recognize a hooker? We were in Texas, and he goes, no. I go, see that girl? She just kind of walking. He goes, yeah. I go, who just walks nowhere? And he's like, good point.
That's a great point. And then I watched her for a while, and she was just making her rounds in this little hotel parking lot. I was like, all right, that's a hooker,
that is
all right.
From another night, my friend.
A street lizard, as my Uncle Bill says. My favorite terminology for a hooker, a street lizard.
Oh, yeah. My dad was a truck driver for 20 years. He would tell me,
there you go.
He'd be like, I'm trying to sleep, and he's like, there's knocking on the door at 3 in the morning. And I'm like, hey, you want some? No, go away.
You gotta appreciate the sales pitch.
Yeah, I do.
Pay up, boy.
French fried taters.
Dude, that, to Bo's point just now, though, man, it's so dead on, and it was absolutely a two-way street. He's being super humble about a lot of that, and it certainly went both ways, but I want to take it a step further. That went for our entire staff. Like, the staff of people that we had at that time, never once when we were looking to hire somebody or add somebody were we like, what do we need at FloCombat? It was never like that. It was, what does this guy do well? And then we wanted him to just do his thing and be the man at that. Like, we know James Lynch is like the man at fighter interviews, on video, the GOAT of like just going through his black book and just rattling off. And for Lynch, he gets just excited about interviewing Conor McGregor as he does about, you know, the prelims on LFA, whoever that may be for a given week. Like, Lynch brings the same, he's so consistent. Like, the consistency of that guy, and that's another thing that Bo taught me. is just the importance of consistency. Like, you can be great. You can write one great article, and it can be, the shit. It can be everywhere. Everybody reads it and praises you and says, oh, man, this kid can write. If you don't do that day in, day out, because we were in a groove, man, at one point where it was at least an article a day that just hit.
Jeez.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
If you cannot do it consistently, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy is you drop a bomb-ass story in MMA, and everybody's all over your nuts for a day, but then what are you doing tomorrow? Because don't forget, there's so much going on, so it's like you could drop the dopest George Masvidal story, and it may last for 3 days tops, but okay, what are you going to come back with? And that's why, like, Gervaisi was big, like kind of a trickle down, right? And then I was so happy that I got to introduce Hunter to Tom because they hit it off like I knew they would. And the three of us have some classic times together, man. We were talking about on Twitter today with fucking.
That's so funny, yeah.
The two, they're not, like, Hunter's tall, but, like, they're not, like, heavy guys, but, man, fucking the two most egregious eaters I've ever seen. I don't even think I used that word right, but crazy eaters were, fucking Tom and Hunter, man. They're, like, barbecue fanatics, and, dude, like, I'm fatter than them both, and I was barely hanging on barbecue day, bro.
Listen, Joey Chestnut's not a fat guy either, and that dude shoves hot dogs, so...
That's a great point. But just to round out the story for anybody who hasn't heard it or didn't see it, Gervaisi took us to Fletcher's Barbecue in Brooklyn, New York. So first off, you get a full barbecue. When you go to a barbecue joint, you get more than you think you can eat because it's not often you get to eat really good barbecue, right? So you got to just try it all. I got like brisket, pulled pork, a couple thighs, whatever. Everybody got whatever they got. We fill up, and like I could see it in Bo's face too, because like you say, he's really not a big eater at all. I could see it in his face for sure. Like, we're both tapping out. I'm like, dude, like, that was amazing, but I'm done. Gervaisi just has this smirk on the other side of the table. And he's like, what do you think about dessert, boys? And we're both like, oh, man, I don't know about dessert, man. So we're thinking, okay, well, at least I'm thinking dessert, like a light kind of ice creamy dish. Okay, I might be able to make this happen. Gervaisi suggests Rollin' Roaster, which is like, what, Kenny Rogers, like, burger joint on.
Like an old Kenny Rogers in Coney, in, like, Sheepshead Bay.
Yeah, like, what are we doing here, Gervaisi? And he's like, oh, they got these burgers with cheese, but it's not slices of cheese, it's whiz. It's the cheese whiz. You gotta get the whiz.
Quiz, understand this. They have a dedicated worker who all they do is sit and hit the cheese whiz pump. Everything that comes through there, they just pump the whiz on. And I'm like, wait a minute, for dessert? You're talking about eating a fucking burger, dog? Like, are you serious?
Sure enough, guess what we had for dessert that night?
Cheese whiz burger.
Rollin' Roaster, yep. And great experience, but my stomach has not forgiven me to this day, I don't think, for that. It was bad.
No, and then if you're a fan of true crime, then you've seen the documentary Cropsy about the fucking about the subterranean fucking child killer. We're driving back from fucking Rollin' Roaster, and fucking Gervaisi just is driving down Staten Island, and all of a sudden he pulls in this place, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And I look up, and he's like, it's a Cropsy building, and everything that I had from Rollin' Roaster about came out on that seat of that Toyota, because I don't hit my pants.
True. One of the funniest reactions I've ever seen, though, because Duane, he was terrified when he saw it. It scared him. So he, like, tried to get out of the car. But when he opened the door, he realized, wait, like, that's the opposite of what I want to do right now. And he, like, got back in the car real fast. It was a hilarious reaction because you just saw his instincts, like, oh, nope, not out there. Fantastic.
This ain't a horror movie, dude. This is real. This shit really happened. So
I
see the fucking front of the building. I realize where we're at. I panic. I try to get out of the car. I realize that's the horrible thing to do. Trying to get back in the car, but I'm like legit scared. So I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And they're all like, Hunter's never seen a fucking movie in his life, so he don't even know what he's laughing at. He just fucking freaking out. And he's like, now he's crying.
I just see people laugh, so I join in, Little simpleton here. Wait, what'd you call it? Golly G, Bo? My golly G ways just take over.
That's bonkers. That's
Unreal.
bonkers for real.
I don't think I've ever laughed this much ever watching Duane freak out.
You need to watch Cropsy for context. Yeah.
No, you need to watch Rubber so you can try to figure out what to do with your life after that.
Yeah, that's an hour and a half you don't get back.
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you, fucking, he's back in full microphone.
Oh my
Listen
God!
to that.
Finally.
But now I'm walking to get laundry for fucking Johnny Savage. He's got a game to play.
Nice.
But so how
Dad
about this,
life.
dude? The big dad life. So how about this? This was so much fun. Let's do this shit again. But Ole Bo's gonna have to duck out here. But Quig, let's just call this the fucking Bo Glow reunion part 1, and we'll do part 2 in like fucking Sunday.
Well, I can try and do that. If you look at the bottom of the screen, it says, Bo and Glow are back. So
Here we are. Hey,
We gotta live up to that.
I'm not shitting you. We got news coming. Like we're gonna. I can't give away too much because we're not really. Dude, I kind of look like Conor McGregor right there, don't I?
You do.
Hey,
Not a good look.
Pro.
I need to punch an old man.
Oh!
I like to apologize to absolutely nobody.
That was classic.
That was
Yeah,
classic.
dude. What's up?
Well, I can
Dude,
still
I'm
talk to
doing this
Hunter
shit.
because I have no
You go
problem
get
with
it.
that.
True.
Fucking prima donna Sab's like, can you get my tights? I'm like, I'm doing a fucking show with my boys.
I mean, he did get the
Unreal,
headphones
Sav.
for you. Without him, we wouldn't have, audio at all.
That's
True. Tell Sav I said what's up, Bill.
Hey, Sab, say what's up. See that?
What is he
over there?
laying on the
Yeah.
ground? Like, what is this?
That's his Larry Bird vibe right there.
Chilling. Just chilling. I like it.
Getting in his zen zone. But yeah, so next time, like when let's do this again here in the next couple of days, we'll talk about what we got going on, because like I said earlier before he got on the show, if there's anybody that could pull me out from under the rock that I was under, it was this fucking kid. And it's an interesting thing, right? Like I said, I can't stress enough how much having somebody that like really understands you, like it understands, like I'm coming, like he mentioned earlier, I come from such a fucking left field situation. Like nothing I do is conventional. I'm in the fucking wind half the time, and Glow is like, he's like the fucking Bo whisperer, man. Like he's like, all right, I get what you're doing, and there's rein it in a couple, yeah, man, I can't say enough. So if there's anybody that can get me to fucking get moving again, it's him. And we had to find the right situation. You know what I mean? Because, like, dude, I don't know. We can talk about this since it's public, but looking at the FloCombat shit, man, breaks my heart. Like, it breaks my heart. Like, we kept them out of the gates, like, from nothing. Like, I got hired, and then I hired Hunter, like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And together, in less than a year, we took a completely unexisting site, and it got nominated for an MMA award. You know what I mean? And then we repeated it the next year, and we were onto something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we were connecting in a way that the other sites weren't. So, but that's gone now. Like, dude, the MMA landscape has gone to shit.
Yeah, especially in the last month.
Yep.
Yeah. It's been insane, man. It really has. I've heard that from a lot of people, too, like saying that flow isn't what it used to be or anything. I'd be lying if I said I was as plugged into the space as I used to be. I'm absolutely not. But, like, I poke in here and there. I still see them doing some stuff, which is great to see. And, like, there is definitely a part of me that still wants Flow to succeed. Like, honestly, I'm like, man, I feel like we were such a part of that, putting it on the map at all. So it would be cool to see him keep succeeding. But right now it looks like it's just hard for anybody to succeed. Even Junkie Fighting, all those guys are kind of ESPN took over, which I'm pretty sure you called that, Bo, whenever the old merger happened.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I mean, go ahead, Quigs.
And I was going to say, I felt the same way with the score going away from their video interviews and letting James Lynch go, like you brought up earlier. Like, that felt like to me, like FloCombat bullshit part 2. Like, that's what it did. Because the day I found out you left was like losing a family member. And I'm like, I never even worked for the site. But seeing someone like you just, them go a different direction, and I really don't care because I'm not looking to ever get, hired by them.
Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Fuck them. I'm saying, Hunter and I mean, as close as we were, it was even terse for us for like a month to get through, because I understood, man. Like, he had to carry on and he had his stuff to do, but he was quick to tell you the same. Like, he just wasn't the same. Like, without me and him in the pocket, together. So, yeah, before my phone dies, and I gotta get going, I want to say I love you both. Glow, fuck yourself. Quigs, I'm proud of what you're doing. Well, I'm kidding. I love you, you fucking pale son of a bitch. But
Hey,
thanks for making me happy. You made me smile today, boys. So that's big ups to you.
big
And,
win.
hey, I will catch you both soon. Okay, let's do this Sunday if we
Yes,
can.
sir.
All right,
Love
works
you,
for
man.
me.
All right,
Let's
love
do
you,
it, sir.
buddy.
All right, Hunter,
See you.
stick around. We're gonna
See you,
kick Bo off.
For sure.
Stop.
Later.
Let me go, bitches.
Be gone with ye. Magic.
It felt
It was
weird.
magic. It
That worked so perfectly.
See that? You love it when a plan comes together. Sometimes it just takes a month to hatch the perfect plan, Quiggs.
Dude, the look on his face, I'm so glad we got to keep that. Like,
Same. That was perfect. He had no idea. Total left field.
so I'm gonna let you take the floor because you've been doing so much lately. We even talked about the Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes.
Nice.
So I ended up
Nice.
getting a Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Okay.
I'll still take a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Did you have them side by side, quick? No, I mean, I picked Chick-fil-A too.
I was gonna say you picked
Ultimately-
Chick-fil-A, like you can't.
Awesome. I was upset with myself for like a week about that decision, man.
Well, you made it public. That's what made it even worse. It wasn't
I
just
know.
like you typed something. You weren't on Twitter
I know,
like,
dude.
"Oh, this is better." You did a full time lapse video of you eating
Dude.
sandwiches, and to be honest, I love the chicken from Popeyes. It was the first time I had had a Popeyes chicken sandwich ever.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I know everybody listening is like, "Why the hell are you talking about chicken sandwiches?" But if you watch Hunter's video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about because
Yes, let it go. That was
So-
a huge thing for me, man. Like videoing it, being authentic about it, like we said. Like that's something that I've. So just to run it back a little bit further, one of my good friends in college owned a brewery, Parkersburg Brewing in Parkersburg, West Virginia. So he was huge into craft beer, like from the jump, from the time craft beer really started to take foot. So just to like talk to my core group of college friends, exactly, Church Brew Works, he knows, Quiggs knows. Quiggs is in on the craft beer game.
oh, of course.
So just to talk to them, I had to up my craft beer knowledge. So one year in March, we did a Sweet 16, except we called it the Dank 16. And we got 16 of the best IPAs from across the nation and blind taste tested them. So this was the thing. We had like Pliny the Elder, we had Heady Topper, we had some of these like world-renowned IPAs.
Did
in
you
this
have
list.
Highlight White Oak?
We did not have White Oak. That would have been cheating anyway. We wanted traditional IPAs, no barrel aging, no nothing.
All right.
nothing
What about
crazy
regular?
with it.
Jeez.
Dude, I think regular Highlight really might have been in it, but I can't remember the full feel. But I think it was. I really do seem to remember that one being in it. But so we blind taste tested them, and that like opened my mind to that because Heady Topper got eliminated in round 1 by like Southern Tier 2 times IPA, like
Whoa.
a very basic beer around here. So then in my mind, I was like, how much of what we taste is marketing and perception, and how much is really what we're tasting? So then when I did the Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A, I just thought it was very important to keep it real. Obviously, I knew which was which in that case. But I've had this thing ever since then with any product where I'm like, is this product really good, or have enough people just told me it's good that in my brain I'm going to pretend like it's good?
You mean
So,
like
that's a
Gecko
huge
stuff?
thing.
Like
Hey, dude, if you're talking shit, I'm leaving. If
no,
you're
no,
not
no,
talking shit on
no, no,
Gecko.
no. I've never wanted a food as badly as you did. Like there was one point where you tweeted something about Gecko, and I was like, I really wish they, I had this closer to me, and they tweeted back to me, we can make that happen.
See that? You need to take them up on their offer. Dude, the Get-Go thing, so Get-Go sponsored DK Pittsburgh Sports when I worked for them. Obviously, those tweets were sponsored. It was not a secret. It was nothing like that. However, I don't tweet things that I don't believe in. So, like, even for my sponsors, I figure out a way to make it authentic for me. Dude, Get-Go's Buffalo chicken tenders are legitimately the best chicken tenders I've ever had in my life. And they come from a gas station, and it's incredible. The sauce is on the inside, first of all. They, like, inject their chicken tenders with buffalo sauce. So the outside
Oh my
stays
God.
crispy. It doesn't get soggy from being sauced down, nor does it mess up your fingers from sauce. So they're clean, they're easy to eat, and all the sauce is on the inside. Dude, dip them in ranch, and they're so tender. They're always cooked perfectly. I don't know. Get-Go's buffalo tenders, unbelievable.
Marinara versus Ranch. I remember that battle.
the big cheese stick debate. Which side of the coin do you fall on? You marinara guy, I assume.
With a cheese stick, yeah.
Yeah, see.
But
just
at the same time, I put
another
barbecue sauce and
stick.
macaroni and cheese, so
See, my wife does ketchup and mac and cheese, so it's equally crazy.
as
to
long
me.
as it's only Kraft mac and cheese that she's doing that to, and not,
That is.
Because
That's true.
honestly, taking the time to bake a macaroni and cheese has become like my life's work, and that ruins every other mac and cheese for you the rest of your life.
Absolutely, it absolutely does. I will say this, if you add like ground beef and make it like a hamburger mac and cheese, I'll accept ketchup or barbecue or something. Like at that point, you've accepted that we're moving into a totally different meal.
We did 3 lobster tails thinking that would be enough. That was not enough.
It was not?
It was not enough at all. So
that's a $120 dish of mac and cheese you're working with.
You're like, okay, these ingredients, yeah, I need about 20 lobster tails. Yeah, that works.
Okay, perfect. We're good. We got our lobster mac.
So talk about the decision to move. I'm jumping right into it. To move to DK Sports, because obviously being a Pennsylvania resident, I didn't want to call you a Pittsburgh resident because I know some people get upset about that. And then the decision to leave. So
sure. So yeah, man. So the decision to go to DK Pittsburgh Sports towards the tail end of Flo. You know, Duane talked a lot. He mentioned a lot of it without flatly saying it, but it was very clear that things were changing at Flo. So whenever Duane got fired, it perked up my ears. Like, what's really going on here behind the curtain? What's our future like here? What direction are we going in? So I was always aware at that point. Like, it's a weird thing, man. In journalism, you don't really have job security, no matter how good I mean, look, we just saw Chuck Mindenhall and so many others get fired from The Athletic. It wasn't fired, it was laid off. They made company-wide cuts, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're crushing it sometimes. You work for a company that is a business and will make business decisions sometimes. And if you are not at...
And let's cut the only journalists that are covering a sport that's actually going on right now. But, you know...
But, I mean, listen, we're not here to critique their business model or anything like that. I still like a lot of what The Athletic does. Still have a subscription to. So I still have a subscription to DK and Flo as well. So it's nothing out of animosity. None of this is animosity on my end. It's just an understanding of where I want to be in my career and what places are going to allow me to reach that level. I mean, that's really all it is, man. I want to be out there. I want to be at the top. That's how I've always seen it. So Flo was definitely, for a period of time, allowing me to do that. You know, what we did, elevate my brand and their brand at the same time, the things I was doing with Duane, things we were able to accomplish. So many people know me from Flo now. Like, if you would ask somebody what I did for a living, they'd be, oh, he's that dude who writes for Flo. Like, I would have fans at events come up to get pictures with me, which is a very weird feeling. By the way, it's like, dude, I'm writing. Like, I'm not cool. I'm not famous. You don't need a picture with me. But that's awesome. Like, I love that kind of stuff, the community we were able to build. So, obviously, as Flo continued down its path of it was much less UFC focused and much more focused on Flo's live streaming events, which was not a bad thing. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I understand it's a business. Like, I totally get it. They got to sell subscriptions. But for me, I knew, like, Valor fights, these XFN fight nights, great promotions, loved working with these guys, but this was not my path to getting where I needed to be. So I needed to keep looking around, and DK Pittsburgh Sports, one of my good friends who I worked with in college, Matt Sunday, was their staff photographer. Sunday. Dude, he's the man. Matty Sunday is that dude. So I talked to him a little bit, and he was like, just apply. Like, just shoot DK, who is the owner, Dan Kovakovic, is the owner of DK Pittsburgh Sports, founded it, owned it, runs it. He's like, just shoot him an email. Here's his email address. Just let him know what you can do. Tell him about your skill set and where you think you fit in. So, obviously, being a Pittsburgh boy, I grew up huge Steelers fan, Penguins fan, not so much a Pirates fan because of my age. Who is a Pirates fan? Our age, right? So I sent him an email and said, like, my resume, just normal introductory shit. Here's where I think I fit in. Here's what I think I can do. And long story short, he took me up on my offer. So I ended up working for DK Pittsburgh Sports for, 18, 19 months, somewhere in that area. And it was the same thing. Throughout COVID, I think COVID stressed things out so much, man, because there were no sports to cover. There was nothing to do. I got stuck in this rut of just kind of doing the same thing. So, like, I was reporting, but I was also doing their social media and their marketing efforts, email marketing, things like that. So I got stuck in this rut of just doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and it just became obvious to me that the opportunities that once were there, because sports were in session, like, okay, you get to go to Steelers games and interview Steelers and help build off that. You get to go to Pitt basketball games and be one of the only people. Pitt basketball does not have a following like the Steelers, as you can imagine. So you get to be one of the only people on the road getting these exclusive interviews with the coach and blowing it up like you're the guy.
If you can read that, that's from,
nice.
You have to check your messages because
there it is. I got it. Ole Bo. That's good. If we can bring a genuine Bo smile, my night is made.
Well,
so we got it.
And realistically speaking, both of us have taken a lot from him. Whether it's been one-on-one and you guys spending all that time together, to me being able to meet both of you. Like, keep in mind, I worked 14 hours, drove 4 hours across the state, waited an hour, and hung out with you guys for 1 hour.
That was a legendary trip on your part. And dropped off beers and had a few beers with us at the time. So, I mean, that was definitely a legendary trip for sure, man. Bo said a lot, but, like, what he meant for me as well is absolutely reciprocated. Can't say enough of, like, the total team effort that was at Flo at the time.
And anytime he calls his book toilet paper, I actually get offended. And he's the one who wrote the book, so let's talk about it. So
it's such a good book.
It really is. I told him, I said, I read 14 chapters without putting it down. And I said, I don't remember the last time I did that with... You know what? I do remember the last time I did that. And I'm sorry to say this. It was the 5th Harry Potter book.
I was just going to say Harry Potter because that's like the last time I remember doing that too. It was like when I was a kid and the new Harry Potters would come out, I'd be like, bam, bam, bam.
Dude, so I remember the 5th one came out. Like, my grandma drove me to the store. We got it. Drove home. I locked myself in a room at like 11 o'clock. And I came out at 3 and I was done with the book. I didn't eat. I didn't go to the bathroom, like nothing. I just read the book. And then I read the first chapter of the 6th book, and someone at school was like, so-and-so dies and this happens. And I never read it again.
Damn, you got spoilered at school. That's a shame, man.
But
that's really disappointing.
Going back to your 18, 19 months at DK.
Yeah, so as COVID just continued to set in, there was clearly no soon end in sight. Dude, I just made the decision. I've always wanted to do my own thing, for sure. Like, that's been the goal. Anybody who's ever been close to me has known that's been the goal from the jump, is, like, get to a point where you can do it for yourself, be your own boss. Because the thing that nobody really wants to talk about in journalism, especially journalists, because it sucks, and they're all in the same boat. But hey, dude, the money's one thing. And listen, I can never complain about the money. I was very fortunate with Flo and DK both to have a very stable salary, full benefits. I was totally good.
That's the unicorn in the room there.
Right. So that was never the issue for me, but the issue for me was always downtime, family time, understanding that I am a human being who doesn't just want to do journalism stuff 24/7, because I mean that's what's expected, because that's what's necessary to thrive in today's landscape. Like if news breaks and you don't write it, every other site's going to get it out before you. You have to be ready to roll at all times, and that kind of 24/7 nature of the job was just not me, man. I like to do so much more. I got married in October, as you know, so I have a new wife. We have a family. My family is also not a normal family, and every employer I've ever had, I've tried to describe this to them when I get hired so they understand the expectations, and they always say they do, but until they feel it, they don't know it. Like, my family is so close, man. I am insanely fortunate to have the family and the support system I have, and I'm not talking just my mom and dad, uncles, cousins, aunts. We're like a whole Homistek unit, man. The support system we have is ridiculous, and when I have to tell them no, I can't come to this party, it's not like we understand Hunter has to work. It's like, what's up with Hunter? Like, why isn't Hunter coming? Does he, like, did we offend him? Like, what's going on here?
So they thought it was, like, personal at that point.
Exactly, because it is. That's what, like, the way our family unit operates, it is very much that way. And it would never be out of malice by any means. They would never, like, well, we're not inviting Hunter to anything else. It would just be like, man, what the hell's up with Hunter? Like, is everything okay? Like, he's not coming around. It was that kind of thing. So just continually telling people I love no, I can't do this, why? Got to go to a Pirates game. Got to cover this random UFC event on Saturday. Or not even UFC at Flo. You know, it was this random event that we're streaming on Saturday. I got to do this. Got to do this. Sorry, can't do it. Sorry, can't do it. I got tired of doing that to people I love, man. That's really all it comes down to. You have to be selfish to make it. And I just reached a point of selfishness that I was not comfortable with. So I knew I had to do my own thing. Now I'm my own boss, and I get to have free time, and I get to golf, and I get to hang out with friends, and I get to still do work and make money too. So that's awesome.
And so, getting to see the website come out, I was really excited about that. I was a little confused seeing you leave DK because everything you had been putting out was just like that passion. But I get it. You work for a sports site when there was no sports going on. It really doesn't, do much. So I love to see, and I think, we go back to it, and we could talk about this for hours when it comes to Duane, or Duane, as you guys keep saying, because, I'm from Florida, not the South.
Yeah.
He's instilled something in all of us, and, I feel like every time we accomplish something, he accomplishes something. And me doing this podcast, this is for fun. I'm not getting paid. I'm not looking to get paid. Like, if I get paid, that'd be great. But this isn't something I'm here to do. Like, this is fun for me. And you're absolutely right. It does take a lot, even when I'm doing it for fun, because you're having to figure out, I've got 2 nights a week that I'm free. What am I doing with my time? And I think that's the big thing. So, working around family and having a supportive family is amazing. Like, my grandmother loves UFC. Will text me during a UFC fight and be like, "Did you see that?" And I'm like, she's in her 70s.
I saw it, Graham. I absolutely saw it, Graham. Thank you for checking. Dude, that's amazing. I love it.
So for me, like, that's important, having the family, like, when the shirts came out, like, having family members text me pictures, having friends, having coworkers I've never even met send me pictures that, like, hey, I got the shirt. I'm like, that to me was making it enough. Having somebody else ask me to be on their podcast was making it. And it's in a different way. Yep. So I love seeing you take that drive to make your own site. So what's your favorite part about your site now and what you're doing forward? And I really want you guys to talk about what's coming out next month, because now I'm really excited.
I can't.
I know you can't. I know you can't. I didn't.
But you're gonna like it. I guarantee you that you're gonna like it. So I'll just say that. And it is MMA based. I'll also say that. It'll probably be more than MMA, because as all things are between me and Ole Bo, it can never just be one track mind kind of thing. We're gonna go on our tangents and our adventures and all of that. So it'll be a little bit of all that. But dude, my favorite thing with my site right now, I left DK 3 weeks ago, maybe a month at the absolute most. I don't even think it's been a month.
It seems like it was longer than that.
It does. That's what I was just thinking. But my wife was just saying that the other day, like, oh, it was the 3 weeks since you left DK. I was
since you lost your job, were you about to say?
Yeah. No, I left. Like, definitely, that was my decision. I left. I did not lose my job. I didn't do it, Quiggs. Anyway, no, I really did though. But since I left DK, dude, my favorite thing about it is just the freedom that it's brought me in my personal life. I was hanging out with my dad. I've said this to a couple people at this point. The weekend after I left, the weekend after I quit, I went to my parents' house up in Butler, PA, which is like an hour, 15, hour and a half north of where we're at here, right outside the city. And I shot guns with Dad. We went fishing. We cooked steak. We had just this father-son day of doom that was awesome. At the end of the day, we had planned to go golfing too, but it kind of got a little stormy and rained on our parade a little bit. So he said...
No pun intended.
Right. He said, if we had golfed today, I think we would have done more together today than we did together in the past 3 years. Damn. And that just hit me different, man, because I was like, he's absolutely right. And that ties right back to what I was saying earlier. The way my family is, it's very hard to understand unless you have a similar family. And I understand it is 100% a blessing on my part, whatever you want to call it. I'm insanely fortunate to have that kind of family. But it's still true. Like, I still have these parents who expect me to spend time with them. And quite frankly, I want to spend time with my family. They're awesome to be around. I love them to death. They've done everything for me possible. So obviously I want to reciprocate, spend time with them, and just enjoy each other's company. So when he said that, it was the ultimate validation that I made the right decision, because I wasn't sinking. We didn't fall behind on our bills. We can still afford the house that we just bought in February. Like, everything's okay. All the financial worries that I was concerned about, we took care of. And like you said about people buying your shirt and things like that, I was also blown away at the reception when I launched the site of getting clients, getting a client base, because obviously I was concerned about that. I was like, okay, how am I going to make money? Are people going to trust me? so many people reached out and like offered work and, hey man, help me out with this. Can you help me with this? And just helped keep the train rolling, man, and the whole community. And that's the whole thing of it, is like when you build a community of support, you're authentic with them and they feel like they know who you are. I had so many people reach out and say, hey man, I barely even read your stuff on DK, but I liked what you said about beer, or I liked the little style that you brought to the site. I'd just like to talk to you and see what we maybe can do. So like that kind of stuff was huge, man. So you are, like, when you project that authentic self, that genuine self, you attract similar-minded things. You know, it's very much law of attraction, and go down that whole rabbit hole of how that works. But I found it to be true, man, at least in some degrees. I'm not going out touting the secret as the secret to life like Conor McGregor was back in the day or anything like that. But there's very much something to positive energy out, positive energy in. So throughout everything, like I said, there was no animosity in any of the splits when I left any place. I still support Flo, still support DK, still support everybody that I've ever worked with, because I understand that this is a journey for me. It's not like when one thing ends that doesn't exist anymore. You know, the DK chapter of my life's always going to be there. The Flo chapter of my life's always going to be there. Just the current chapter of my life does not directly involve either of them, and that's how the way it has to be. So I'm very proud of that right now, proud of where we're going, and things are about to get even more exciting, so there's that.
I hate both of you for both telling me. And it was so funny because he kept talking about, he's like, Hunter and I got something. He's like, you don't know about this. And I'm just thinking, you don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah, you don't know either, Bill. So we're all getting surprised today.
So I will save it for that. Dude, I'm so happy to see you doing well. And I love what you just talked about and the positive energy in and out, because, you know, the MMA community, you're either friends or you're not. Like there's no, like, you're friends or you're like your family or you're not. Like there's no in between. I really feel like there's a professional courtesy when you see the other ones. Hey, how you doing? But then there's guys that you drive, you know, first of all, you drive all over town to find White Oak Highlight, some of which may have been expired.
Hey, I didn't notice, man. That stuff was all good.
And then you guys taking the time, you know, you guys have been on that road trip. You were on your way home. Like, you were on your way back. And it's putting that good in and getting that good out. And here we are still talking about it, you know, years and years later. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on and surprising Duane. I think we made his, like, century at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? Bo put a big old smile on Bo's face. Like I said, my night's made, my week's made. And according to Bo, we're doing it again, dude. So we'll run it back, and maybe instead of circle jerky jokes, we'll talk actual shop next time.
Listen, man, when it comes down to it, I love that you talked about being able to do what you're passionate about, being able to do what you love. Like,
yeah,
these episodes aren't getting 10,000 views. They're not getting streamed. You know, everyone's not like talking. I'm having fun. And we're getting to tell stories in a way that people aren't doing. You know, we're not just talking, all right, this weekend has a UFC card. You know, I got to talk, and I'm going to have to watch it after this. The BKFC is on tonight, and I do have some personal stake in that because we interviewed Ike Bailey Flag last week, and
Ike's the man, dude.
I
love Ike so much.
And he's great, and he was hilarious, and he was upset because we had some connection issues, and he's like, I want to come back on the show. And I'm like, that's how you know. So I said, he better come home with that gold tonight. Tonight is July 24th. It won't go up tonight, but, you know.
Fair enough.
But
we'll know at this point if Ike won or not.
Yeah. The card just started at 9, so we got some time. But,
nice.
Hunter, thank you again. It was an honor and a privilege. And like the tag says at the bottom, you guys are both legends. Whether you feel you are or not, but we owe, I would say, 95% of what we have to Duane. You know, and just because he gave us a different outlet. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to anybody we've worked for or anybody we work for. You know, the guys at Combat Press have been nothing but amazing to me. You know, when Ultimate MMA went down in 2014, like, they picked me up. They were a brand new site. I had no idea what it was going to do. And I've been able to, you know, tell tons of stories, you know, talk to people I never imagined I would, and really just kind of go with it. So being able to do this now and them support this and, you know, give me free reign, we've talked about things that are probably going to get me in some deep shit. Probably going to get some fighters in some deep shit. What I really wanted to talk about was Cypher. Which
you're out of luck.
Which I can't find a copy of anywhere, and I was going to tell Duane,
No?
so I'm gonna get him on that next time. So
Do it, absolutely do it.
Once again, thanks to epicjitseas.com, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, or if you're not, watching, you can listen. Epicjitseas.com, promo code Quiggs. You can get your own Quiggin Out MMA shirt, which, I have to rep every time I'm on the show. Thanks to Combat Press for giving me the platform, and Hunter, and since Duane's not even on the call anymore, because, he had family obligations, the thing that we talked about that's most important, which is why I respect him even more for that, and you for that,
See
matter,
that?
because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, your family is important, and they're not going to be there forever.
Yep, absolutely, man. That's what matters most. Made my day too to see him dip out for family stuff. Like that's how it should be. You shouldn't feel chained to the job and chained to your life, man. Like there's a happiness outside of that, and I'm just me finding that for sure. It was an adjustment at first. It was like returning home after a long vacation or something like that, and you're like, oh, what's normal life like again?
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of had to remember how to be a friend to a lot of people, but man, it's been an adventure and a very worthwhile one at that. So if you are out there and you're stuck in a crappy job that has you feeling like it, just know that there is life out there.
Well, then tell them to go to your site and give you some work,
Obviously, do that too if you want now.
It's just homistek.com, isn't it?
Set. Yeah, it is. It's homistek.com, man. I'm pretty set right now on the work, honestly, dude. I don't think I could take on another client and service them properly and do a good job. So
3 weeks ago, it didn't exist.
3 weeks ago, it didn't exist. Now I'm booked, man. It's an awesome place to be. It feels really good. Dude, I'm super excited when you see what me and Bo are working on and what that's going to be. It's going to be awesome. I'm just pumped, man. Thanks for having me, and thanks for allowing me to talk about that some more and see Bo's shining face again.
Absolutely.
That was beautiful.
So on behalf of Quiggin Out MMA, Combat Press, and Hunter Homistek, and the old Duane Old Bo, writer of this book, that I keep covering his name every time I do that. Thanks again. Have a good one, guys.